This section of the lesson covers converting from trigonometric or polar form to rectangular form. So you're going to start with things with a radius measure and an angle measure and convert them to a complex number, x plus yi. So a couple of steps that we want to cover. If it's written in this abbreviated form, we can expand it if necessary. We're going to figure out what quadrant the angle's in, and if sine or cosine is positive or negative, and figure out our reference angle. And then we're going to distribute the radius to find our answer. So we're going to go back to our exact value table, sine theta, cosine theta, 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1. We don't have tangent on there. We're not going to utilize that in this part of the lesson. So here, what we want to do is convert to degrees first. So if we multiply that 5 pi divided by 3 times 180 divided by pi, the pi's simplify, you plug that in your calculator, you're going to get 300 degrees. So this is going to turn into 2 times the cosine of 300 plus I times the sine of 300. So now you want to think about, okay, 300 degrees is in quadrant 4. And if you think about the signs in quadrant 4 here, positive, negative. So cosine, sine. Cosine is positive, sine is negative. We also need to figure out the reference angle. So going back to last unit, quadrant 4 is 360 minus the angle. Quadrant 2 is 180 minus theta. And quadrant 3 is theta minus 180. So here, 360 minus the 300 is going to result in a reference angle of 60 degrees. So we're going to have 2 times cosine is positive, so this is just going to be the cosine of 60. The sine of 300 is going to be negative, so this is going to be minus I times the sine of 60. And now we're just going to use our exact values. The cosine of 60 is 321, it's 1/2, minus the sine of 60, 123, is the square root of 3 divided by 2. That I is just going to be in the numerator, and then you're just going to distribute the 2. 2 times 1/2, multiplying by 2, dividing by 2. If you think about that as 2 divided by 1, the 2 simplify is 1. Same idea here. 2 times this fraction, the 2 in the numerator and the 2 in the denominator simplify. So this would be minus I times the square root of 3. So if you want to check this answer, let me grab a calculator real quick. Mode, you need to make sure you're in degree mode, and you need to change your mode to A plus BI. And then if you type in the original after you convert to cosine 300 plus I is second decimal point, sine 300, you'll get that. And then if you type in your answer, 1 minus I times the square root of 3, you'll get the same decimal. Just see here, this is the imaginary part, so you can check your answer to see if it's correct or not. Let's look at one more. On the next page, I'd like to take a look at part H. So in part H here, now you're having the abbreviated form. So I'm going to convert this to degrees first, and then I'll write it out in the expanded form. The pi simplify, this is going to become 210 degrees, so it's going to be the square root of 3. C stands for cosine theta, so cosine 210 degrees plus I, that's what the I is, and the S is for sine, plus I sine 210 degrees. So we're going to do what we did on the previous. 210 is in quadrant 3. In quadrant 3, we have negative, negative, cosine, sine. So these are both negative, and the closest x-axis is 180 degrees, so getting the reference angle is 210 minus 180 is 30. So the reference angle is 30 here. So this is going to be the square root of 3 times negative cosine of 30 degrees minus I sine 30 degrees. They're both negative because we're in quadrant 3. Using your exact value table, cosine is 321, so this is going to be negative square root of 3 divided by 2, minus sine is 123, so this is going to be minus 1/2 The I goes in the numerator. And then you're just going to distribute here. The square root of 3 times itself is 3, so this is going to be negative 3 halves. The square root of 3 times that negative 1 is negative square root of 3. The I is going to be in the numerator. So negative 3 halves minus I times the square root of 3 divided by 2. Let's check that in our calculator. We're going to type in what we have here once we convert it to degrees. Square root of 3 times cosine 210 plus I sine 210. You get that, negative 1.5 minus this 0.8660I. Type in your answer, negative 3 divided by 2 minus I times the square root of 3 divided by 2. And I've messed something up. Minus I times data type. I'm not sure what I messed up. Mode, I got the right mode. And the last one, I typed in something with I, right? Yeah, I was able to do that there, okay. I'm not sure why that's giving me an error. Let me try something a little different and see if I can't fix the problem. All right, so if we do our fraction here, negative 3 divided by 2, and you change that to a decimal, there's your negative 1.5. I wonder if I just type this in not using alpha y equals. Weird. Okay, that's odd. All right, let me try. So alpha y equals negative 3 divided by 2, and then I wonder minus, if I do this again, but not using alpha y equals. Very odd. Okay, so what I would suggest then, if that second one's a fraction with the I in it, just leave the I outside the fraction. I do want to try one more thing because I have, all right, if you do minus I and then you do your alpha y equals and you do, oh, it did that. This is just going to give me an error again. Yeah, very odd. So you'll just have to, if you get that fraction with I, just have to do it sideways instead of the alpha y